down near the finish jump is a keen spot for them. Now let's have a look at the weather conditions now. -10, the snow temperature, -7, the air temperature, but look at the gates. You can see how it is being buffeted by the wind. The women's downhill, vision impaired, the para-alpine skiing schedule, the 2022 Paralympic Winter Games will get us underway. And let's have a look at the start list. 8 competitors from 6 national Paralympic committees will race in the women's downhill vision impaired. And Henrietta Farkasova of Slovakia, overwhelming favourite for this one. 9-time Paralympic champion, reigning world champion from Lillehammer earlier on this year in January of 2022. But an exciting moment at the top here.
Yeah, the athletes making their last moment preparations. As you've mentioned already, the wind causing all sorts of trouble. Rescheduling our training program, organisers had to move things forward or back by a day and give the athletes a day off the mountain yesterday due to very, very high winds. Those winds have subsided somewhat overnight, but still a bit breezy on certain sections of the course, particularly the last part we just saw there, just before they drop into that light shade section down that very, very steep gully. So we'll just have to watch and wait patiently while the race director and the members of the jury make their final decisions as we wait to get things underway.
And those training runs really important because none of the athletes, apart from those from the People's Republic of China, have raced on this track. There usually is a test event, but because of COVID-19, the athletes haven't been able to race on here. So this is why those training runs are so important and why they need to shift them around to get all 3 training runs in.
That's right. Crucially important, the training runs in downhill competition. No training, obviously, in slalom, giant slalom, or Super G, but traveling at speeds approaching 130 kilometers per hour, you definitely need to have a run or 2 on the hill to get familiar with the terrain and, of course, the set of the gates. Looks like we're just about to get underway, though.
The alpine skiing at the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games is underway, and Henrietta Farkasova of Slovakia is the athlete to get the alpine skiing underway. Women's downhill in the vision impaired category, and Farkasova is a strong favourite for this one. 9-time Paralympic champion, reigning world champion, and she's set off at some pace.
Absolutely fearless skiing from Henrietta Farkasova on the top section. We saw there it's very, very steep right from the get-go, and the terrain is unrelenting. It's changing underfoot with every metre that you travel, but this is a very strong run from the Slovakian pair as they approach the final section of the hill.
Yeah, just got over the Duen, jumped on the little light, now hard on the left skier. She drops into this high toe bowl, going into the shade, and that makes life very difficult indeed for these athletes. It's really steep, this section, and this key gate coming up now on the right-hand ski, coming out of in towards the canyon. Got to get this right to take the speed into this flat section.
Beautiful turns from Henrietta Farkasova out of the bow and carrying great speed across the flats. This is crucial. We've got to carry the momentum, got to build it above, and now try to gain some aerodynamic advantage across these all-important flats. Here comes the final pitch.
Over the rock jump and heading for the finish line, and Farkasova will set a time of 1:19.51. Her factor time, 100% would see the clock run as a normal stop clock. It runs just a little bit slower as part of the leveling up, but what a great slow-mo.
Yeah, absolutely amazing pictures showing just how close to the limit the skiers are here today.
Bib number 2, representing Great Britain, Millie Knight and her guide Brett Wild. And Knight, second in the downhill and Super G in 2018.
Brave stuff from Millie Knight on the top section, gets into that tuck good and early across the first breakaway. That terrain break, very important now that Brett's done a good job of guiding her here. They've closed the gap up nicely. They were a little bit far apart in the previous turns, but right now they have a good connection and strong stuff through the midsection.
0.57 off the pace of Farkasova, our leader, as they wind their way over the Silk Road section of this downhill. This part of the track very narrow as it runs along the ridge.
Yeah, the wind was causing problems here earlier this morning, but it seems to have gone away now. Brett and Millie Knight doing very, very well here. Millie trying to close that gap down just to get that connection improved. Brett bleeding a little speed off on the right foot turn. Very good guiding here by the British pair. Keeping the turns clean, that's key to getting momentum for the flats, but they've split apart a little bit.
Ran just a little bit wide, had to come back to make the next control gate, and not perhaps quite as quick as Farkasova, our leader. 3 gates from home now for Millie Knight. Silver medalist in 2018. It's a tuck for the line here. Committing to the cause, 119.5 has gone, and she goes second, 3.7 off the pace for the time being.
Strong skiing here from Millie Knight. Good pictures here once again in the slow-mo. Nice clean exit to that turn and rolling the ankles nice and powerfully onto the new turning ski.
Bib number 3 in the start hard. It's Alexandra Rakova of Slovakia and her coach Martin Makovnik. Martin Makovnik, the head coach of the Slovakian para-alpine ski team. But Raksova, just 16 years of age.
Yeah, you can see, you mentioned there the fact that Martin, the guide, is a coach as well. He's checking over his shoulder, making sure the athlete's with him all the way. Doubly important, obviously important with a visually impaired athlete skiing behind you, but doubly important with such a young talent on your tails. A great job done here by this pair. They're in these games to get big match experience. Looking forward to when the games come back to Europe 4 years from now. This will be a very, very important building block in this young girl's career.
Raksova looks up to Henrietta Farkasova, who is our current leader, and also Petra Blahova, the Czech alpine skier who became the first Slovakian to medal in alpine skiing at the Beijing 22 Olympic Games. And Raksova doing a really good job through the high toe bar. Now has to get this right-footed turn right to carry the speed, and that is a good line from Raksova, but you can see the wind there whipping up the snow.
Difficult conditions for the pair here, and the youngster doing a great job. Very brave skiing from such a skier with so little big game experience. Right on her guide's tail, a strong finish.
119.5 has come and gone for Raksova, but she slides into third place. 5.63 off the pace.
A little frustrated there, and they didn't have any luck through the gully there. A little bit of wind affected that run, but unfortunately nothing we can do about this. This is the ultimate outdoor sport after all.
Next in the start had Linda Le Bon of Belgium and her guide Ulla Gillots from Belgium. And Le Bon, 57 years of age, second in the downhill and the Super G at the World Championships back in January of 2022. And that's the only real sort of guide we have for these Paralympic Winter Games. No downhills on the World Cup this season.
Yeah, and the Belgian pair making certain, you could say, playing a safe hand of cards on those top turns. It's so steep out of the start gate. I really can't emphasize how difficult it is. The snowpack, very, very hard. I wouldn't say icy, but it is very difficult to get grip from the skis on this man-made snow, which has been packed and skied on now for weeks and weeks on end throughout the winter here. But yeah, as we say, not a lot on their form card, but a solid performance here from the Belgians.
Has to get hard on this left-hand ski. Now that left-hand blue line, as we look up the hill, it's probably about 3 or 4 meters below the top blue line. It's that steep, and perhaps the camera doesn't do it justice, but you can see how the wind has played with the snow on the track, that sort of ripple effect that you see maybe on a beach with sand. And Le Bon, 14.16 off the pace of Farkasova at the final time split.
Yeah, they're past the most technical, difficult sections of the course. Fairly flat run here before the final breakaway and the drop into the finish. They should be solid enough and safely home in a few seconds from now.
Le Bon over the final pitch, touch for the line, and she is down in a time of 1:36.07, slides into 4th place.
A mixture of elation and relief there, I think.
Bib number 5, Mena Fitzpatrick from Great Britain, was the slalom champion in 2018, second in giant slalom and Super G. Also has form at World Championships as well. Now, can she put some pressure on Farkasova? Well, she's 2.43 off the pace, and just goes to show how quick Farkasova was. But again, you can see she's got the worst of the wind. As she comes over that rise, she's skiing straight into that wind.
Yeah, Mena Fitzpatrick looking slightly tentative on these breakaways, and Gary Smith, her guide, doing a good job. Quick check here over Gary's left shoulder, make sure that Mena's still in contact with them. The pace is high as they drop from the sunlight into the shade onto this amazingly complex section of turns. The terrain moving from left to right, getting ever steeper with every gate that's passed, and they're doing a great job through this section. Very clean skiing, and as Mena cleans this turn up, she should be nice and quick out onto the flat section. Good job there by Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick was the first skier from Great Britain to win an overall visually impaired World Cup Globe back in 2016. And also the first Great British skier to win a gold medal at the Para and World Championships. So Fitzpatrick through the finish, 1:30.5. She goes into 4th place, 10.99 off the pace of Farkasova. Noemi Eva-Risto of Germany and her guide Paula Ella Brenzel next to challenge. And now onto this Galleria. It's so icy and so steep. And then they'll come over the Dwen jump, and now they go into the Silk Road section.
Wild stuff from the German pair on the top section. It's pretty fast though, as far as my eye can tell. Risto, she loves to take a chance, and this is a risky ride on the top part of the course.
4th in the downhill back in 2018. Can she get herself onto the podium in 2022?
Brenzel checking before they drop off one more time, and coming into the gully. Risto runs very wide on the exit to that turn. Does it play to her advantage? The next split will let us know.
She's 4.2 off the pace as she goes into the high throw ball. And this light shade, back into the shade again, and good recovery. She's got to make the gate. She's missed it. She's out. She's missed the gate, and now she's got to be very careful she doesn't make the fence. Well, heart and mouth moment as she gets in front of the guide and manages to come to a standstill on her own 2 skis. That's good to see, but that could have been very dangerous.
Yeah, Brenzel's guiding skills tested to the absolute max as Risto overtook her. She missed the gate on the right foot turn. Luckily though, they're making it safely and gently towards the bottom of the mountain now. And ultimately disappointment for the German pair. That was looking like a very strong run and in contention for the medals, I would say for sure.
So disappointment for Risto the fact she hasn't finished, but she is down in one piece. And we'll have a chance to race again in the other events in this Paralympic Winter Games. But just goes to show you how quickly it can go wrong.
Yeah, once.
Zhu Daking of the People's Republic of China with her guide Yan Han next to challenge. And Zhu won bronze in the T12 200 metres at the 2012 Paralympic Summer Games in London. Now taking part in a home Paralympic Winter Games.
Well, no question about this young lady's athletic abilities and riding a very clean set of edges on the top section. Only 0.99 off the pace at this early split. And the Chinese pairing on a very aggressive line. They've cut the line very short through here, and this looks fast to me. Very clean turn here on the left foot and running out with good speed, but the line eludes them and she drops low out to her right.
We'll have to wait and see if that affects her time. Sometimes it can compound itself further down the track, but this looks pretty quick from Zhu. Can she get onto the podium? She has to be inside 1:25.13 to make the podium. And she's done it, she's second. 2.25 off the pace. Pushes Millie Knight down into third, but what an excellent run from Zhu.
Amazing skiing, particularly on the lower section after that mistake on the right foot turn coming onto the flats.
Martina Vozza of Italy and her guide Jelenia Sabidusi be next to challenge. Vozza third in the slalom at the Para World Championships in Lillehammer in January 2022. They were due to be held in 2021, but it was delayed like many other things because of COVID by a year. But a good guide, those Para World Championships for these Paralympic Winter Games, and good connection between guide and athlete here.
Yeah, very, very strong skiing from a relatively inexperienced pair here. Vozza really taking chances coming off the pitch. Oh, but one chance too many. She goes on the inside ski just a little bit too heavily and slides out just before the gully. Guide is right on hand to make sure she's okay. It didn't look like too big of a spill. Let's just hold our breath for a moment here and hope that she's okay.
Well, she's gone down holding that knee. The skis come off. Now Vozza might require some attention here.
Well, a sharp reminder there of just how quickly things can go wrong. It was looking very strong, very positive, very aggressive skiing from Vozza, from the Italian pair on the top part, but just one small slip, the weight's going just a little bit too far onto that left foot, the inside ski breaking away. Biomechanical efficiency getting away from her. It's not really possible to hold the force on the inside ski. You're not set up over the skis strongly enough to be able to stand that way, and consequently the ski breaking away from underneath her, and down she went.
That was the last of the athletes in the vision impaired category. So Henrietta Farkasova of Slovakia wins her 10th Paralympic Winter Games gold medal by taking gold in the women's downhill. Zhu Daking of the People's Republic of China takes the silver, with Millie Knight of Great Britain the bronze. And, well, an excellent start for the host nation with a silver in the opening event of the Para-Alpine schedule.
Yeah, definitely a young athlete to keep an eye on for future games. I think a very bright future ahead of her. As we've said, participant in both summer and winter games, and proving her athletic credentials in pretty spectacular style here today.
So now we'll have a recognition ceremony for the medalists in this women's downhill vision impaired category. They'll receive their hardware later on in the medal plaza on day one of these Paralympic Winter Games. But they do have the opportunity to be acclaimed by those in the finish area for their performances in this women's downhill vision impaired.
Very proud moment for the host nation. Their first hardware, as we call it, in the games. And a very strong silver medal by Zhu.
So Millie Knight of Great Britain take the bronze medal. Another Paralympic Winter Games medal for Millie Knight. And Zhu Daking adds a winter silver medal to her summer bronze that she won in London 2012. But as she has done for the last 10 years or so, it is Henrietta Farkasova and her guide Martin Motika who take the gold medal, a 10th Paralympic winter gold medal for Farkasova to go with the 17 world titles that she has also won. But what a force Farkasova is in vision impaired skiing.
Yeah, it's quite some tally, really, when you look back at her career, and doubly so, she deserves our respect and admiration for today's performance. As you've mentioned, the last World Championships just a few short weeks ago in Norway, but 2.5 years previous at the Selenavea World Championships, she actually broke her ACL. So not only has she achieved the highest of levels here today, she's done it coming off the back of a very, very serious knee injury. So she, as I said, really deserves our respect and admiration. A very well won medal there.
Here is the start list for the women's downhill standing. Marie Bochet of France will get us underway, the reigning world champion and defending Paralympic champion. And there are 9 competitors from 6 national Paralympic committees in this women's downhill standing. And Bochet, who won 4 gold medals in 2018, the downhill, Super G, giant slalom and slalom, will be looking for her 9th medal. She won the downhill as well in 2014. And she's also a world champion 21 times. A dominant force in women's downhill standing para-alpine skiing.
Yeah, quite some experience, and you can see it's written all over her there in the body language. Marie Bochet, cool as a cucumber, just waiting for the officials to do all the checks, make sure conditions are safe for the athletes to restart here. And carrying bib number 1 for the women's standing category. You really couldn't hope for much more. That's not such good news, however.
No, that is Naomi Evaristo of Germany, who had a fall, and she, well, it's having to be taken off the mountain. Yeah, apologies, that's Martina Vozza of Italy, who's down injured. Of course, Risto missed the gate and managed to ski down okay. It's Vozza who had the nasty fall.
Yeah, a short delay here. As ever, safety of the athletes is paramount, and while we get the young Italian evacuated off the hill. They'll probably, by the looks of things, they'll probably bring in a sledge to get her down to the bottom of the mountain safely. And for the moment, our competition is on hold. Good news, on the other hand, is that in the background there you can see blue skies. We have a great day of competition ahead of us, and fingers crossed that nothing too serious has happened to the young Italian skier Fozza, and hopefully she'll be able to participate in the remainder of the games. But right now, the course crew and the medical staff taking every precaution and making sure that she's evacuated safely off of the hill. She did actually lose one of her skis in that fall, so either way she wouldn't be skiing down on one ski all the way to the bottom, that's for sure. It wouldn't be out with her abilities. A skier of this level can manage that, but right now an anxious wait for some as we go back to the top of the course, but the vast majority of these competitors very, very experienced, and these delays are just part and parcel of alpine ski racing. The Paralympic Games, I'm sure we will see more spills, hopefully no injuries, no serious injuries before the end of the Games, but drama in the early stages, and sure more drama and excitement to follow.
Yeah, there's a couple of youngsters at the top of the hill in this standing category that must have to take a couple of deep breaths and settle themselves, get their pre-race routine. It's a common occurrence, though, delays in alpine skiing, para-alpine skiing, and each individual athlete has their own way of dealing with these pauses. They'll have their own little method of switching off, and then at a certain time they'll then switch it back on into race mode, try and maintain that intensity.
Yeah, you can see as you look around the start area, everybody using their own style of preparation to stay calm but stay focused at the same time, ready to bring their A game as soon as the start referee gets the all clear from lower down the course. That important call, everybody's waiting and hoping they're going to hear it from the radio. Course clear, we can restart. I think it's probably not too long until we get that message across the jury and safety team radios, because lower down on the course it looks like they've taken care of Fozza and they're about to bring her down towards the finish area for further medical assessment.
Just on the left hand side there's an exit out to the mid station of the gondola, and then there's a road that will bring her back down to the finish area. They won't take her down the Haitwo Bowl, I wouldn't imagine. And exit points all the way down the track for situations such as this, and hopefully the last of them today.
Yeah, you mentioned the course design, a brand new course, obviously, not only due to the problems we've all faced across almost 2 years now with COVID-19 upsetting the schedules, but this course, brand new design for the Winter Olympic and of course our Paralympic Winter Games, designed by Bernard Russi, a legend in downhill and alpine skiing generally from Switzerland. And it's certainly proven its worth across the competition so far last month in China here, and right now we're seeing a sharp reminder of just quite how challenging this mountain is. Yep. A lot of people said that it wasn't a course really worthy of Olympic and Paralympic competition, but I think today we get, when the camera's nice and still here, you get a proper appreciation of just how steep it is, and right off the top of the screen is where the start is, so that's only 20 or 30 seconds away to cover all that distance down to where our camera is, and it just gives you a true impression of the speed.
In the Olympic Winter Games, Beat Voigt of Switzerland won the men's downhill in the fastest average speed of any Olympic downhill prior.
That's a very important statistic, and when you consider those average speeds are well over 100 kilometers per hour, it's just the average. So as I mentioned earlier, we're touching high 120s, around 130, and that's very, very quick indeed.
Yeah, Russi, Olympic champion 1972 in Sapporo, and he built this track in conjunction with Didier Defargo, his compatriot who won the Olympic downhill in Whistler in 2010. That's the view up from the bottom of the High Two Bowl. And you can see that the gate's more sort of Super G-like rather than classic downhill with long turns, just because of the width of the track.
Yeah, a major challenge there for the setter. However, I must say, our course setter today, Hans Blattmann, head coach from the Norwegian program, has done a great job for our Paralympian athletes. Certainly by my estimation, Hans, a very, very experienced coach and a great course set. Very few spills, very few crashes during the training runs, and unfortunate for the Italian Fossa that she just had one small technical error, seen her go out of the competition. But it does look like she's being safely evacuated towards the bottom. It's the Canadian team up at the top, looking very calm and collected, slightly nervous I would say, but doing a good job of keeping themselves occupied. Team physio at the top, talking to girls, relaying information from the line coaches further down the course, and just letting them know that everything's okay. Ultimately, it was pilot error that caused the crash. It wasn't a problem with the snow or with the set of the course. So a reminder for everybody, they've got to stay over the skis, keep the weight pressed solidly down as best they can onto the snow, and deal with the challenge of this, as I've called it already, ever-changing terrain here for these Beijing 2022 Winter Paralympic Games.
Marie Bochet of France clips up the boots. It's almost time to go in the women's downhill standing at Beijing 2022. Bochet, the two-time defending Paralympic champion, will get us underway. But this is a keenly contested women's downhill standing. Ebba Arshort there going at 7. The 21-year-old, she'll run Bochet close. Ramsey as well. Third at the World Championships a couple of weeks ago. But Bochet definitely the racer to beat. And looking for a third consecutive Paralympic Winter Games downhill gold in the standing category. That's the view up. That is known as the white face. And then those barriers along the bottom of the screen, that's the Galleria that takes you skiers right to left on towards the Silk Road. But incredibly steep and incredibly icy.
Yeah, reminiscent of the Paralympic course in Sochi, actually. Very, very steep from the get-go, and as we've just said, you need to be on your A-game right from the get-go. Looks like we're just about to get things underway. Bochet running one final mental rehearsal of the line there. She prepares to launch herself down that white face pitch into the first few turns of this course.
So there's the buzzer. The wand will come across the gate and Bochet will get this women's downhill standing underway. That gives you a great example of how steep this track is, and it is direct down the fall line, straight off the bat. Marie Bochet of France gets the women's downhill standing category underway, and she's had a failure already on the second turn. And Bochet, the two-time defending Paralympic champion, will not make it a third gold.
Oh, the frustration obvious from Marie Bochet. Well, that certainly was not in the script. That really is one of the greatest disappointments any athlete can ever face. Equipment failure there, just barely seconds out of the start gate. And really, what a disappointment, what frustration Bochet must be feeling right now.
Well, takes herself out on the slip road. Well, that is a real turn up for the books, and something you can't legislate for as an athlete. You can only legislate what is in your control, and findings giving way is not part of it. Well, that really opens the door now for the likes of Jepsen, Arshaw.
More and more things nowadays. Every other word out of my mouth.
Yeah, we just have it's not really a delay. We run the regular interval as if Boucher was giving her time to race all the way to the bottom, but that was the 15-second warning beep from the timing equipment, and we're almost ready to go again with Andrea Rothfuss of Germany, the next competitor to take to the course.
Andrea Rothfuss of Germany, 32 years of age. She's been on the podium at every Paralympic Winter Games since 2006 in Turin, when she won silver in the giant slalom. 13 podiums in total, including second in the downhill giant slalom, Super G and Super combined in 2018. So this, with Boucher out of the running, a real chance.
Yeah, that's an important stat you've just brought up there. Rothfuss, you know, generally you could say in the shadow of Marie Boucher for the previous couple of games, but now the German has a real chance to open things up and make her mark on the world. Strong skiing, I have to say. She looked a little tentative on the first 2 or 3 turns, but really getting the bit between her teeth now, getting those shoulders down to create an aerodynamic advantage. It's just to reach out over the outside ski a little bit more strongly, I would suggest, to turn, make the skis turn a little more cleanly. You can see some spray coming off the edges of the skis, indicating that they're going sideways ever so slightly rather than carving clean, and as a consequence drifts out a little further than she would have liked on that all-important right foot turn. That's the money turn before the flats.
Yeah, the blue line is only for guidance. The athletes can go outside of it. They just got to make the control gates. And Rothfuss 1:23.71 sets the time for those at the top of the hill.
Clean on the entry to this turn in the slow-mo, and very clean on the exits. Good turn there from Rothfuss in our slow motion pictures.
Molly Jepsen of Canada, the next to go, won 4 medals in 2018, gold in the Super Combined, silver in slalom, bronze in downhill and giant slalom. What can Molly Jepsen achieve here? Trying to chase down the time of our leader, Andrea Rothfuss of Germany.
Confident skiing here from the Canadian on the top section. That's reflected in the split time. Very clean in the first 3 turns. Those all-important top steepage. So important to not just carry literal speed, but to set the mind and set the confidence level as high as possible for the remainder of the course. And that confidence showing through here from Jepsen. Great skiing through the mid part, and she grows her advantage.
Jepsen 1.2, the right side of the clock, and just gets bounced out on a bump in the high throw ball, but recovers really well.
Well, that confidence we spoke about, standing her in good stead. The high sider there almost causing her all sorts of problems, but she gets right back to work, gets the body slung as low as possible over the skis, and now tucking across the flat, carrying great velocity here.
Off the final jump, Jepsen heads for the line, 1:23.71, and we have ourselves a new leader. She finds nearly half a second through the canyon section, and Jepsen leads. But it looked good, didn't it, from top to bottom?
Yeah, confidence right from the push out of the start, and a very clean turn there. Just that exemplifies exactly how competent a skier this young lady is.
Let's go. Outside ski, full hammer, there. Let's rip.
Bib number 12. And Alana Ramsey of Canada, third in the Super G and Super Combined in 2018, a 5-time World Championship medalist. Missed the last 2 seasons after a big crash at the World Championships in 2019, and has really been trying to get her mental strength back following that crash. Now 21.78, the first split time of our leader Jepsen, and Ramsey just a shade over 2 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, Ramsey not quite as clean and not quite as smooth in her execution from turn to turn. Just ever so slightly tentative on some of these turns, and that lack of execution, lack of strong execution on the outside ski being reflected in the split. Here comes the next checkpoint.
And 2.01 has grown to 2.83.
A bit of a drift there from Alana Ramsey. A cleaner turn, however, on the left foot. Again, keeping it relatively straight through this section. There's a couple of different ways to ski this part, but you see her pushed out to the right-hand side there. Consequence of that straighter line in the 3 or 4 turns above. That will have cost her another half second or so, I would estimate.
4.34 off the pace of the last split. Ramsey running wide on the entrance to the canyon. And does it cost her more time? Only, no, she finds 1/100th of a second through that bottom section, but 4.33 off the pace, goes third. Hondo Ami of Japan. The next to challenge, bib number 13, third in the downhill at the World Championships in 2019. But away from the slope, she also represented Japan in rugby sevens at the 2014 World Youth Tournament in Japan.
No lack of physical strength here, mental strength and abundance as well, I would say. The shoulders down, low over the knees, getting that aerodynamic tuck position, and relatively speaking in touch here, certainly in the medal zone so far for the Japanese skier. Keeping low, gets pushed a little though, coming onto this pitch. Sets up well for this right footer, quick switch onto the left, but again, just dropping a little low. The strength is there, but the quickness, the lightness, if you like, from foot to foot lacking ever so slightly.
If you're wondering there why that gate panel has been twisted, it's because of the wind, and she's running late in the line. There was an error further up that has compounded itself, and she could be pushed very low here, and is, but that came about 4 gates previous. Now 102.62, she was 2.16 off the pace at the last split, and has that line cost her on the clock. 121.75 is gone. Jepsen won't be beaten by Honda, so it's 4.15. 2 seconds it costs her in the canyon.
Yeah, frustration for Hondo there in the finish area. Those mistakes quite costly before that all-important final flat section.
Bib number 14 is Michaela Gosselin of Canada. And Gosselin out of the start hut, straight into the thick of the action on Whiteface. Those 3 gates before getting heavy on the right ski to traverse across Whiteface for over the terrain change. End-to-end jump. 21.78, the first split time of her compatriot Molly Jepsen, and she's just over 1 3/4 seconds off the pace.
Very clean on the first 3 or 4 turns, but that important final turn off the pitch costing her. She let the line run out just a bit too early, and as a consequence took a longer line, but more importantly it's sort of done some damage to the actual ground speed. Similar section coming up here, so she needs to keep it tight and early with the switch. That's good work here. And early entrance to these next couple of turns. This next right footer, all important. Needs to let it run from here. A little bit too early into the attack, sacrificing cleanness and speed on the outside skis, searching for that aerodynamic position. And here's this crucial flat section. Nowhere to gain time. Any mistakes here will only be compounded, as we've been saying, as she goes now for the line.
Goes down, across the line, 1:25.75, 4 seconds off the pace, finding 0.4 of a second through the canyon section, but not enough. Into third place. Did 15, Ebba Arshaw. And this is the first of our athletes in the standing section with a leg impairment. Those that have been before have had arm impairments. Arshaw out of the start hut. World champion in slalom and parallel. Missed the first week of the World Championships because she had COVID, so missed the speed events. She took up paraskiing in 2019 after her impairment stopped her progressing further in able-bodied skiing in 0.85 off the pace of Jepsen. She's definitely in touch here, Arshaw.
Yeah, the Swede carrying good speed from that top section. The early split reflecting the fact that she'd set up very high, very early to help her get a clean run down the pitch. This one coming up now, very important, and well, still in touch, still in the medal zone. Clean turn coming into the gully here, and another one to follow. Needs to string a couple more together and get speed out onto this flat section. A little bit ragged here, not quite staying with the ski all the way around the turn, and pushed wide on the exit. Oh, that will be costly.
Yeah, just got caught, didn't she, by the release of the energy from the ski, got pushed onto the back of the ski and lost the pressure on the edge that pushed her wide.
The course not really favouring her. Her right leg is the less strong one, and all important, that right foot turn at the end of that pitch.
Second, 1.45 off the pace for Arshaw. Loses just 7/100ths of a second because of that mistake coming into the gully.
Yeah, an indication there it's a massive physical effort, top to bottom, for these skiers. No matter how cleanly or how ragged you ski it, it's tough to get top to the bottom in rapid, quick time, as we've been seeing this morning.
Kamiyama Noriko of Japan, the next to go in the LW9 class, has arm and leg impairments. And Kamiyama making her Paralympic debut at the age of 49. Also a para-athlete in swimming and shooting.
Great to see athletes switching over from summer to winter games. Many of the attributes required by world-class athletes, be they Paralympians or Olympians, are very transferable. However, the one thing that is perhaps lacking here, that experience, that time on the skis, and the Japanese skier Kamiyama just looking ever so tentative, and understandably so. The speeds of all the competitors are very high, and the challenge of this Paralympic and Olympic course is as high as any that I've seen in my career, that's for sure. A very, very difficult hill and a tough set of turns for our competitors to do. Every medal, every placing, very, very hard earned, if you like, here in China for these games.
Couple of gates from home now for Kamiyama. And crosses the line in a time of 1:38.49. Slides into 7th position. 16.74 off the pace. Bib 17, Zhang Mengyu of the People's Republic of China. The last out of the start hut in the women's downhill standing. And Zhang, well, took up the sport 6 years ago. A big drive from the People's Republic of China Ski Association to attract people to the sport of para-alpine skiing.
Yeah, the program bountiful, I would say. A massive number of athletes and strong skiing now that the more difficult section of the course is behind her. Zhang looking much more confident than she was on the top section. Her wide shot gives us a proper impression of the speed she's carrying. And yeah, the clock reflecting that as well. Only 0.39 of a deficit for her to work on.
Zhang, 19 years of age, and has the factor time to her advantage, and now she's got the green light by 1/100th of a second. Zhang from China looking to take it away from Molly Jepson of Canada. Can the 19-year-old keep the green light as she comes to the final couple of gates? Zhang of China, 1:21.75. This is going to be close, and she's just outside by a tenth. And Zhang had the green lights coming into the canyon, but it's Jepson who is celebrating at the bottom of the hill by a tenth of a second.
Zhang's delighted with her performance, you know, for such a young talent. That's incredible work. Just a slight error on that all-important right foot turn before the final flat bled some of her speed away, but another great talent for the future. But today in the women's standing category, it's all about Molly Jepson of Canada.
Oh, what a race at the Yansing National Alpine Skiing Centre on the High Tuo Mountain. And the final result of the women's downhill standings looks like this. Molly Jepson of Canada is the Paralympic champion. Zhang of China takes the silver, and Arsho of Sweden the bronze. The big other story, Marie Bochet, the two-time defending Paralympic downhill champion, did not finish.
I would say that's our first real big surprise of the para-alpine competitions. But the course, once again, I have to say, proving it's a massive challenge for all these competitors. Great skiing so far from these ladies in the first two categories of these Paralympic Winter Games.
So the recognition ceremony for the women's downhill standing category.
Bronze medalist representing Sweden.
And Ebba Arsho of Sweden takes the bronze medal in her first Paralympic Winter Games. Also in her first Paralympic Winter Games, 19-year-old Zhang Mengyu of China takes the silver. But Molly Jepson of Canada wins the gold medal in the women's downhill standing to go with her gold medal from 2018 in the Super Combined.
Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games medalists.
They'll get their medals later on day one at the Yanxing Medal Plaza. But here at the Yanxing National Alpine Skiing Centre, it's a recognition ceremony for those in the stands. And Jepsen will hear her national anthem later on today, and what a moment that will be for her. But enjoying this part of the day in the recognition ceremony. The women's downhill sitting at the Paralpine skiing at the Paralympic Winter Games Beijing 2022. 7 athletes from 6 national Paralympic committees, and Annalena Forster of Germany, the world champion, will get us underway. But Muraoka Momoka of Japan, well, she had one of the quickest times in training, just 8/100 slower than Forster. And this could be a really keenly contested gold medal in the women's downhill sitting. Forster, just less than a minute to go until she is out of the start hut. There is the buzzer that indicates 30 seconds to go. And she brings herself forward. There's the clock ticking down on the left-hand side. Just coming up to 11 a.m. local time. Annalena Forster of Germany gets the women's downhill sitting underway at the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games. The reigning world champion, having taken that title in Lillehammer in January of 2022. And Forster, she carried the flag at the opening ceremony. Now she's trying to add a gold medal in the downhill to that accolade.
Good job on the top section by Annalena Forster. Now just calmly letting the ski take pace across the first of the flat sections before getting set to go to work again as the terrain drops away. Sets up very nicely out to the left to give herself good space. And yeah, good placement of the ski. Doesn't quite get the edge angle built high enough. And now battling the line ever so slightly. The ski breaking away to the side. And a little bit of speed gone there, so not just ideal, but nonetheless it's still a pretty quick run by Forster. Yeah, you can hear the frustration as she yells at herself. That was a definite mistake on the right-hand curve there, and that'll be costing her in terms of absolute ground speed across the flat. The ski going sideways for far too long. She does have to drift it a little at the top of the turn, but she let it drift just for a fraction of a second too far, and as a consequence got dropped low in the line.
Forster off the rock jump, will tuck for the line, and 1:30.6 for her, not as quick as she put down in training. Muraoka Momoka of Japan, the next out of the start hut. Paralympic giant slalom champion in 2018, second in the downhill.
Good job by Muraoka on the top section, getting the line, I would say almost millimetre perfect, and carrying good pace here as she comes across the first real terrain break. Has to keep the work rate high though. Oh, she's in very straight here. Does a double turn on that rather than bringing the arc around nice and smoothly. But those clean turns at the top paying dividends as we see a big green light come on. 0.80 her advantage. This is good. Right on the money here and exactly where she wants to be coming into this section. Very precise skiing from the Japanese lady. now gets back to work here. This is tough. Ski gets bounced a little to the side, but catches it, just stays calm, gets the balance back, runs the turn out nicely. The rig doing a great job. Suspension setup, all important, and it looks like Japanese technicians have got that absolutely bang on today. Keeps the line really high and very clean, carrying great speed here coming out onto this important flat section. Just skims that blue line exactly where she wants to be.
Well, she picks up over 1.5 seconds through the high toe ball. And this is a great ski from Muraoka. The time of our leader, 1:30.59. And Muraoka, the captain of the Japan team here at Beijing 2022. Can she get herself in the top spot? She can, 0.82, the right side of the clock. She loses nearly 6/10 through the canyon, but it's good enough to go into top spot for the time being. Barbara van Bergen of the Netherlands, the next to go, 43 years of age. She competed at the Paralympic Summer Games in Beijing in 2008 in wheelchair basketball, winning bronze.
Oh, she's out. That's unfortunate. She was trying so hard to keep the turn, keep the line high, but the combination of drift and trying to punch the ski out didn't really work out for her. The terrain a bit too unforgiving. It's really a question of having to engage positively with the course and basically take risks on those top 4 turns. And Van Bergen, the first of the ladies to go out in this women's sitting category, unfortunately for her.
Oh, disappointment for the silver medalist from the World Championships in Lillehammer of 2022. And, well, let's have another look at it.
Yeah, drifting the ski sideways there at the top of the turn, but not able to get the edge to bite, not getting the purchase after the drift to be able to make the ski carve out the direction that she's pointed it. It's a risky tactic, and I would say a tactic that hasn't quite worked out for her. It's really a case of skiing confidently, sending it, as the athletes and coaches call it, pointing the ski down the hill, trying to bring it as close to the fall line as you dare, and carving best you can to make that all important speed to get the momentum for the flatter sections which follow.
Bib number 21 is Laurie Stevens, the United States of America, the Paralympic Winter Games champion in downhill and Super G from 2006 in Turin. Second in the downhill in 2010 and third in the downhill in 2014 and 2018. So this is a skier who has all the experience, and can she deliver? Looking a little tentative across that Galleria section, and now she releases the ski and the speed starts to build.
Yeah, much more comfortable as the terrain flattens out and becomes a little more forgiving. This is more like Stevens' preferred terrain. Likes the high speed, but that blend of technical turns on the steep section combined with the relatively high velocity right out of the start gate, not really suiting her. And yeah, another mistake there. That looked like her line error. She looked just ever so slightly uncertain of the direction she needed 3 gates earlier there, and still struggling to get the line back just to a point that she seems comfortable with. Ski being grabbing at the snow. I have to say that the snow is very, very, what the coaches and athletes call aggressive. The air being very, very dry. The snow doesn't really give a predictable feel, if you like. And it looks like Laurie Stevens of the USA struggling a bit to get to grips with that aspect of the
oh, and she's down. Well, that's a big fall. And there is an indication just quite how steep and icy this track is, because Stevens has gone a long way down the high toe ball. Didn't look comfortable for large parts of that challenge. And eventually it catches up with her, but she seems to be okay.
Yeah, she just didn't look 100% confident coming into that section, and as I was mentioning you can actually still see below where this guy is. You can see how well defined some of the tracks are that the skis are leaving, an indication that this snow is real catchy. She was unfortunate there. It looked like she was going to miss that gate, and just as she'd decided that her race was run, a little pile of slightly softer snow catching her out there, sending her down on her side, but she's upright again and looks to be okay as the course workers retrieve her equipment, and hopefully she'll be well enough to compete in the remainder of the competitions. This is obviously day one of the games, and early days yet for all of these competitors.
Yeah, they're just asking how she feels.
Yeah, she went down pretty hard, as we saw there. Nasty sort of whiplash type fall, and definitely a full medical check there for Stevens once she gets down to the finish area. Every precaution being taken. The sit skiers obviously lower body protected by the rig and by the fairing, but there's no protection really, no adequate protection from what happens when things go wrong. You know, the ski whipped underneath her very quickly, caught the outside edge, and she got slammed down very hard there. She's a tough competitor though, Laurie Stevens, and I'm sure so long as the medical team give her the all clear, she'll be back to compete in tomorrow's Super G competition.
You know, there's a service road just below where she fell, and there it is with the skidoo. That's at the bottom of the high toe bowl, and you'll just see Stevens above that service road, but that was a big fall onto the shoulder. So looks like they're going to put Stevens into the wagon and take her from the track in that wagon. And so hold on the course. Laurie Stevens is removed. So that's Katie Combeluzier of Canada, who has just to wait a little bit longer, the 28-year-old.
Yeah, slightly anxious moments for the three ladies remaining in the field here up at the top. They will know from their connection coaches or the line coaches on the hill that Laurie Stevens is relatively unhurt after her spill, and the start coaches will be helping them just stay calm, stay focused on the task that they're about to undertake. As I've said a few times already this morning, a very, very challenging hill and a challenging set of gates for the ladies so far in these Paralympic Winter Games.
Yeah, the three athletes remaining at the top of the hill in this women's downhill sitting, all at their first Paralympic Winter Games. So the nerves that were there will just be heightened a little bit by this hold on the course.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking when, especially when the fall or the problem is out of vision from the top, so you can't really see or properly understand what's gone wrong further down the course. You just have to trust in your own confidence and the words of your coaches to keep that focus and keep the nerves just simmering at the right level. Little smile there, indicating that the Canadian is got things under control. It shouldn't be too long. It looked like Laurie Stevens was being safely evacuated to the side of the course. It shouldn't be too long until we get the action back underway here.
There's a good view of the track in the foreground, this Silk Road, and then The roller coaster in the shade now. There is the high tow ball. It was a little earlier on today. That aerial shot because the ball now in the sunshine. And Stevens is taken from the track. The men will get their Paralympic Winter Games schedule underway very shortly. At the end of the women's downhill section, which finishes with the sitting category, and there are 3 races left at the top. Komboluzia of Canada, and then the 2 athletes from the People's Republic of China, Liu and Zhang. You can just see the wind there, the gondola, just a little bit of a swing on it as it makes its way up the hill.
Marked contrast from the last 24 hours, however, and ultimately very good conditions, I would say, for ski racing here today. A little bit gusty for the women's visually impaired category, but as per the forecast, things settling down nicely with blue skies, the temperatures coming up. Still cold, cold enough to keep the snow in good condition for the remainder of the field. As we've just said, the men will follow the ladies. Same program mirrored. We have the men's visually impaired, followed by the men's standing category, and then the sit skiers for the men will finish the competition for today. And the boys getting themselves ready. Arthur Boucher of France doing his visualization, rehearsing the course, confirming the line calls with his coach, and everybody staying just on a simmer, you could say, keeping themselves ready to launch. And the course crew doing a great job. I have to take my hat off to them, considering the amount of racing and training there's been on this hill across the last few weeks. The course has been kept in remarkably good condition. Top marks to this team as well.
Yeah, they're going over the track, just trying to keep it as smooth as possible with all the edges that run over the snow. Ruts can start to form, and by snow ploughing or power ploughing over them, they look to try and reduce the depth of those ruts and keep it as equal as possible for all the racers. Still see a little bit of wind up on the hill, moving the gates and then blowing the snow off the track.
Yeah, just on the ridges it seems to be swirling over just as the terrain breaks happen. But generally speaking, I think we're in for a pretty stable day for the remainder of the competition. Looks like we're about to get things going again, though.
Bib number 22 is Katie Komboluzia of Canada, who was 3rd in the downhill at the World Championships in 2022, but she's down and she's missed the gates, and her race has run 2 gates in. Huge disappointment for the Canadian as she skis out in the opening turns of this women's downhill sitting category.
Well, we have to ask ourselves, was the focus affected by the long delay? Just took a moment too long to switch from one edge to the other to be able to make the left-handed turn. That top section is so steep and completely unforgiving. No room for error, no room for the slightest of hesitations. And a momentary hesitation there from our young Canadian competitor sees the end of her run just seconds from the start gate.
Well, 2 athletes left from People's Republic of China at the top of the hill, and we've only got 2 at the bottom of the hill. So if one of those can get to the bottom, then China will pick themselves up a medal in the women's downhill sitting. Now, the first of the athletes to challenge is Liu Sitong who was a gold medalist in hand cycling at the National Games for the Disabled of the People's Republic of China in 2011 and 2015. And now Liu pushes herself forward. Liu, looking at the clock, gets the buzzer. Liu Zitong of the People's Republic of China on track. Her second Paralympic Winter Games, having finished 6th in the slalom in 2018. The 27-year-old.
Safely through that difficult top section. Shows it enough respect to keep the ski running smoothly, and more importantly, running safely across that top steep.
23.96, the first split time of our leader, Muraoka of Japan. And Liu is just over a second off the pace of Muraoka.
Needs to be positive, attack this one, a degree of aggression, and she looks ever so slightly tentative, putting in a little check turn to get herself set up for these technical curves. But ultimately that will have cost her a bit of time. And again, 2 or 3 shots to get the ski on its edge and locked into the turn, indicating to me that the athlete just a little bit uncertain of the line, or possibly uncertain because of the high velocity coming through this part.
106.07 has come and gone, but by how much? And the answer is 3.97. So Liu looking unlikely to trouble Muraoka at the top of the standings as she lets it run now through this canyon section.
Yeah, more confident coming out of the canyon, the shoulders forward, hunched down over the front part of the rig and over the ski. Down the final pitch, she should be safe from here.
129.77 comes and goes, 2.33, so she finds 1.6 seconds through the canyon, but had given herself just too much to do, and she goes into third. Zhang Wenjing of the People's Republic of China, the next to go. 19 years of age, first Paralympic Winter Games for her.
Whoa, just hangs on there on the white face pitch. These 4 turns out of the start gate are so challenging. And as we mentioned there, a relative youngster, and that lack of experience, very difficult from an inexperienced perspective to bring enough confidence to be able to attack confidently such a challenging course. But right now, no shortage of technical and tactical skills coming through this middle part. The line is very clean, a little bit sideways there, maybe oversetting the line, but it should set her up well for the next pitch. Quick switch onto the right edge, curves that round pretty cleanly, runs it straight between these turns, picks up a little more pace, I would say, and there's the next split.
3.80, another second and a bit added. 82, just over on the speed gun, coming into the high toe ball, and she's down. Down and out.
Again, maybe just setting up a bit too much, giving that the right-hand turn rather on the bowl just as she hit the first part of the shadow, giving it perhaps a little too much respect. You can over-ski it and it gets you into trouble. If you under-ski it, if you go too direct, it'll definitely get you into trouble. But sometimes, surprisingly, taking too much space, trying to give the turn too much respect, as I've said, can sometimes send you off the course as well. And our final competitor in the women's sitting falls victim to just that. Sets it just a little too high, put the edge on, took it off again, and as she tried to make the ski hook up one more time, it had all gone by. She'd missed the sweet spot from the entry to the turn, and down she goes on her side.
So the result of the women's downhill sitting, and it's Muraoka Momoka of Japan, who is the Paralympic champion. She takes gold from Annalena Forster of Germany, with Liu Sitong of the People's Republic of China in third. And those three are the only three that finish, of the 7 that were at the top of the hill.
Reflection once again on just how difficult this course is. 3 at the bottom out of 7, as we say, but when you consider Laurie Stevens, one of the most experienced competitor in this category, she too falling victim to this very, very difficult course in our Paralympic Winter Games opener here. But well-deserved medals, great skiing from everyone in the field, and these 3 take the accolades.
Bronze medalist representing the People's Republic of China.
获得铜牌的是中国运动员刘思彤。
Liu Sitong from the People's Republic of China takes the bronze medal in the women's downhill sitting.
获得银牌的是德国运动员
Annalena Forster.
Annalena Forster of Germany, the Paralympic champion in slalom and super combined in 2018, adds a downhill silver to her haul.
获得金牌和残奥冠军的是日本运动员
Muraoka Momoka.
But Muraoka Momoka of Japan is the Paralympic Winter Games champion in women's downhill sitting at Beijing 2022.
先生们，请
She won the giant slalom in 2018, but now she has a gold medal in the downhill to go with the silver medal she won in Pyeongchang. And the captain of the Japan team here at Beijing 2022 has the perfect start to her Paralympic Winter Games by taking the gold medal in the women's downhill sitting. The medals will be presented later on day 1 at the Medal Plaza in Yanxiang. But here at the venue, it is a recognition ceremony for the medalists. The men's downhill vision impaired, the 2022 Paralympic Winter Games in the Alpine program. And here is the start list. There are 10 competitors from 7 national Paralympic committees at the top of the hill, falling into the B2 and B3 class within the vision impaired category. And Hyacinthe Delaplace, with bib number 2, the world champion. But it's going to be Marc Marcoux of Canada who gets us underway. The defending downhill Paralympic champion.
Yes, here you go. Here you go. Strong outside ski, man. You got it, man.
Marc Marcoux of Canada gets the men's downhill vision impaired underway with his guide Tristan Rogers. Now Marcoux, the Paralympic champion in downhill from 2018 and giant slalom in 2014, and he is full out attack at the top of this rock track. Very steep and quick out the top. He's carried the pace onto the flatter section.
Marcoux, his trademark risk-taking on the top section, paying dividends, I would say. They've lost their connection ever so slightly as they come down the bottom of Silk Road, but gets it back together. Immense weight of experience with Marcoux. Look at that. Just a couple of ski lengths between the guide and the visually impaired athlete. This is exactly copybook, textbook, if you like, visually impaired skiing. Oh, Marcoux loses that left foot, loses the ski ever so slightly, gets the balance back, but that will have cost him.
Good angles from Marcoux as he gets the ski to bite, and Rogers just can't go quite quick enough at the moment. Marcoux right on his tail.
Good pace across the flat section. Final jump, presses it well. Head down, shoulders on his knees for the line.
1:13.81. Marc Marcoux, the defending champion. lays down the marker.
Yeah, pretty strong performance from the Canadian pair.
Yacinthe Delaplace of France with bib number 2, the world champion in downhill vision impaired, with his guide Valentine Giraud-Moine. First Winter Paralympic Games for Delaplace.
En avant, the call from the guy, get forward, and it's good advice. Delaplace a little bit in the middle of the ski for my liking. It lets the skis run fast, and they've got a green light here, but it's a pretty narrow margin and some difficult turns to come. He needs to clean up the technique, make that outside ski carve more cleanly, more securely.
1500's the right side of the clock for Delaplace at the first time split, and different styles of guiding. Delaplace's guide a little bit further in front. Listen to the wind and see the wind on the snow surface at the top of the high toe ball. How much has that affected Delaplace? 54.87, Marcou's time at the bottom of the ball. 300s, and he gets his body twisted as he comes out. This could be very close.
Yeah, carrying very high velocity coming out of the high toe bow, and in the end it caught him out ever so slightly. We saw him get twisted around. The damage will have been done. We have to wait to the line to get the final check, but they're tight together here now over that final jump.
113.81, Delaplace to take it away. No, he's outside by 29 hundredths. The world champion can't get the better of Marcou.
That's cruel. Such good turns higher up on the course, getting good kick from the ski, good switch on. It's right foot turn a little lower down, costing him those precious few tenths, denying him the lead.
Johannes Aigner of Austria with his guide Matteo Fleischmann. Aigner, 16 years of age, world champion in slalom. Earlier on in 2022, second in giant slalom and Super G. His twin sister Barbara is racing here, as is his older sister Veronica.
The Austrians carrying good pace off the top pitch. Here comes the first split. They're a little far apart. They have a green light, but they need to tighten their connection up, be a little bit closer together so the guide can give a proper indication for the visually impaired skier where to get in and out of the turns, the gap opening up even more. They need to get, I would say, a good 4 meters or so closer together as a minimum to be more effective and carry that as well. The advantage is gone, as we can see, 400ths the gap. This is better skiing from the pairing. And yeah, working in unison, the timing of the turns, very, very nice, very clean skiing from the Austrian pair here. They get the green light back. This is going to be close.
10th up at the first split, 400ths the wrong side at the second split. Oh, and Aigner with a little twitch. Does he have enough in the tank? Off the final jump, gets good position. 113.18, he's in by 0.36. He finds 2800 through the canyon, and it is Aigner who moves into provisional gold.
Good skiing there from Aigner. The bottom section in particular, they carry great pace out onto the flat, all the way across. A long flight, longest flight so far, I would say, for them off the rock jump within sight of the finish, and the Austrians take the lead for the moment.
Miroslav Halos of Slovakia, the next to go with his guide Malos Hudik. And Halos, a super combined Paralympic champion in 2018, silver in the downhill in 2014.
Yeah, very experienced pairing here. And it shows, you know, there's a calmness about their skiing. You would say they're traveling quite as quickly as the Austrians just before them. 0.74 to find at the top split, but it's good skiing, very, very clean guiding, and the guide pushing it to the limit, and the athlete hanging on best as he can. Haraus, he's so strong, such a powerful athlete, and that power being put to good use on that left foot turn. Very clean. He ran wide, but he kept the turn clean and making up a little bit of time here.
He's almost halved the deficit from 0.74 to 0.4 and just gets thrown out of shape, and now he's running very straight in the line. Now he's found some pace, and has it been reflected in the clock? No, the error. Just 1.03, just got thrown out of shape, and with it perhaps the chance of the gold medal goes.
Yeah, there's no good places to make mistakes, but that was one of the worst, where he got high-sided there on the left footer just before the end of the high toy ball, and yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to make that up. That's a little bit disappointing. Strong in the middle though.
1:13.45, 1:16.01, 2.5 seconds off the pace. Fourth place for Haraus.
And just gives you a proper idea. When you see the guide taking air, he gives himself a chance to have a quick look over his right shoulder. Haraus, meantime, tucking in behind him and making a very clean turn there with the outside skis, but the inside ski drifting a bit too much. Some of this time definitely lost there.
Giacomo Bertagnoli of Italy and his guide Andrea Ravelli. Next out the start up, bib number 5.
Oh, Giacomo taking an extremely aggressive line down that first pitch, clipping a gate. You really don't often see the visually impaired skiers doing that, but the Italians definitely after it, you could say, today.
1981, the first time split, half a second just over to find. Second in the downhill in 2018, Bertagnoli.
Great tuck position. Look at that. You can almost imagine the air sweeping over his shoulders, rolling down his back, and the body really compact. Once again, shoulders down as hard as he can. He's not heavy compared with Haraus just before. He's certainly not the heaviest of the athletes on the course, so he does need to get down out of the wind, make himself compact at every opportunity. And Bertagnoli doing a great job here. The turns are a little bit shaky, a little bit ragged. Ski not running as cleanly as perhaps he'd like, and I think that reflected in that final split time, 1.69 down.
Encouragement from his guide. And 1:13.45 comes and goes, and Bertagnoli will not trouble the podium, unfortunately, from his point of view. 5th for the time being.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at the gap, actually, to be honest, time-wise. Perhaps the skis not running as well as they perhaps ought to, because Giacomo Bertagnoli, he certainly gave it everything he had on that run.
Jakub Krakow of Slovakia, the next out the start-up, bib number 6. He's the first male athlete representing Slovakia to win a gold medal at the Para-Winter Games in alpine skiing. He was the Paris Super G champion in 2014 and 18. And slalom, giant slalom and super combined champion in 2010. He also has 5 silvers to his name. Krakow, so huge experience, but 0.72 off the pace at the first time split, and a little error from him as he gets his hand down on the snow.
Yeah, I think that experience reflected in their demeanour. These boys are just loving this run. Oh, Haraus high-sided though. That's more than an error that they could have afforded. A really, really costly error. Hopefully he's not hurt himself, actually, because the amount of force generated by the ski to pitch the skier up in the air like that is really quite immense. Everything looks to be okay. They're getting things back on track here. And excuse me, Krakow doing a great job here of picking things up again with his guide as they run across the final flat towards the drop into the finish area.
Nice up Brosman. Here's Krakow's guide. Krakow off the final jump, 1:13.45, 2.64 fifth for Krakow. Well, there was a big mistake in there.
Yeah, frustration showing in the finish, and just after this next turn, I think is the one he got caught out on. No, sorry, it's a little bit lower down. A nice clean execution there off white-face pitch in our slow-mo pictures, but ultimately frustration in the finish there for Krakow.
Neil Simpson of Great Britain, the next to go with his guide, Andrew Simpson, his older brother. 19 years of age, World Championship silver medalist in 2022, fourth in the downhill and Super G.
These boys are really the novices here, only their second ever downhill competition. But I have to say, Andrew Simpson got away, the guy got away a little bit too quickly for his brother Neil from the start gate, but they've done a good job here, closed the gap now, and really this is ideal visually impaired guiding and skiing. The Simpson brothers strong coming in here. This is absolutely perfect from the pair of them. Neil doing a great job switching from left foot to right, getting the ski biting nice and early in the turn, carrying the momentum and staying right on his brother's tails. Look at that, great skiing. The pair of them mirror images of each other as they come through the high toy bowl. Neil going a little straighter than Andrew. We just need to be a bit careful with the distance management here. 1.94, well, they're relatively in touch. Yeah, ski's not looking to be running that fast coming across the flats. Perhaps the snow changing ever so slightly as the temperatures warm up. Let's watch the clock closely here.
1:13.45, and Simpson goes 7th, 3.68 off the pace, losing well, over a second and a half through the canyon section of this track. So bib number 9, so no Michael Schnagel of Austria. This is Logan Leach of Canada, 19 years of age, in his first Paralympic Winter Games. Trains with the Canadian national team up in Whistler.
Another couple of relative youngsters here, not lack of high-speed experience showing slightly in the skiing, but good communication between the guide and the athlete.
Yeah, Julien Petit is Logan Leach's guide.
Yeah, you hear the guides checking as we're going, and the athlete confirming that he's understanding and trusting exactly where his guide has got to. No real visual connection, so that's all important. Bluetooth headset communication is really what the pair rely on to get them down the hill safely and rapidly as well. Now the gap's opened up here, and this is going to be a difficult way to thing to manage as they come out of the bowl. The athlete's still carrying good speed, but the guide had to bleed off velocity by putting the skis sideways because they got separated a little. And now they've got it back together here well, but that will have cost them. Well, we estimate the best part of a couple of seconds with that little bit of line and positioning management up in the high toy bowl.
Leach off the final jump, tucks for the line, 1:26.28. 8th position for Logan Leach of Canada. Australia in the start hut now. Patrick Jensen with his guide Amelia Hodgson.
3, 2, 1.
Second Paralympic Winter Games for Jensen. 11th in the giant slalom in 2018, and just getting a little out of shape on this white face section.
Yeah, not really respecting the pitch enough, Patrick, there. He's let his weight get a bit too far back. The ski running straight out of the turn and picking up way too much pace as a consequence. But he's done well to hang on to that, and sounds like they're enjoying this, the pair of them. He looks a little tentative coming into this section again, but yeah, brave work there. Gets the arms forward, sticks under the arms, hung in there. Guy doing a good job, keeping lots of information flowing back to Patrick Jensen. And it helps him keep his confidence up, trusting exactly where his guide is and pointing the skis and trusting the mountain to take them home safely. A little sideways there coming into high toy bow, so ski not perhaps as clean, if you like. By clean execution, I mean the edge carving cleanly and efficiently through the snow. Maybe not quite as clean as they would have hoped for, but solid skiing nonetheless. A decent performance here from the Australians.
5.75 grows to 8.75.
Good turns out onto the flat, I have to say. Some of the cleanest that Patrick Jensen's managed to make so far. Hopefully they can shave a little off the deficit here.
113.45, 123.71, and seemed to be quite a bit of breeze coming up the finishing pitch. Jensen safely down in 8th position. So the final standings in the men's downhill vision impaired, and it's Johannes Aigner of Austria, the 16-year-old who is the Paralympic Winter Games champion. Marc Marcoux, the defending champion from 2018, is second, and Hyacinthe Delaplace, the world champion, is the bronze medalist. So the recognition ceremony for the Paralympic Winter Games medalists in the men's downhill vision impaired make their way out into the finish area. And Marc Marcoux and his guide Tristan Rogers arm in arm as they make their way out onto the field of play.
Bronze medalist representing France.
So in his first Paralympic Winter Games, Hyacinthe Delaplace of France is the bronze medalist.
Silver medalist representing Canada.
And in second place, the 2018 downhill champion Marc Marcoux of Canada and his guide Tristan Rogers.
Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Austria.
Well, the 2022 Paralympic downhill vision impaired champion is 16-year-old Johannes Aigner of Austria and his guide Matteo Fleischmann.
Ladies and gentlemen, show your appreciation for the Beijing 2022 Paralympic Winter Games medalists.
Well, what a performance from Johannes Aigner of Austria. Just 16 years of age, and he can call himself a Paralympic champion in the men's downhill vision impaired.
Yeah, that's a strong start. You really couldn't hope for a better start from the Austrian team. The power team, as they like to call themselves. And yeah, Aigner, a very well-deserved medal at a relatively tender age of 16 years. That's quite an outcome for the novice.
Now we move on. The men's downhill standing. And here is the start list for this competition. 32 competitors from 16 national Paralympic committees. And Robin Kusch of Switzerland will get us underway. The world champion is Marcus Salka. He goes with bib 14. He's fourth out of the gate. Arthur Boucher of France was the quickest in training. Robin Kusch of Switzerland is the first out of the start hut in his second Paralympic Winter Games. He was 8th in the downhill back in 2018. He didn't finish the other events that he competed. If you are a keen follower of alpine skiing, whether it be para-alpine skiing or non-disabled alpine skiing, yes, the surname is part of the Kusch family, nephew of Didier Kusch, who skied at 4 Olympic Games for Switzerland. Oh, good turn.
Yeah, very good. The right foot turns for Robin Kusch that's his weaker side. The cerebral palsy affecting the right side of his body. See the right ski again there, flipping around a little bit. So very important that he executes those turns as cleanly as possible and gives himself a little bit more space. This is fast, though, I have to say. You know, first of stand-up men, it's very quick coming out of the bowl here.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Kusch, that long turn is on the right ski as opposed to the left. He brings it back well. And he will cross the line in 1:19.55. Quickest in training was 1:15.84, so we'll have to wait and see how that stacks up.
Yeah, a little shake of the head showing he's a little disappointed with that run. Some of those turns just pushing him wider on the exit than he really would have liked. But strong effort nonetheless. A bit frustrated, though, you can see that there.
Arthur Boucher of France, the next to go, 21 years of age. He was second in downhill, slalom, Super G and Super Combined in 2018. Can he find his way onto the top step of the podium on day one of Beijing 2022? Youngest member of the France team in 2018, and well, he would have taken a lot from that experience. And he has the green light by 0.63 of a second.
I was going to say, you know, despite being a relative youngster, you wouldn't bet against Boucher on any day. And today, showing very, very good form on the top section. Good aerodynamic shape over the skis and the not rushing the turns, you know, giving the skis a chance to set up on the carve and riding the turn all the way around. Nothing rushed. That helps them stay clean and, of course, carry that all-important velocity through these curves. Coming out towards the flat, has this really paid off for him through the ball? I suspect so.
Oh, 2.5 seconds, the right side of the clock for Boucher. And Boucher, who set the quickest time in training at 1:15.84, is looking to take the lead away from Kusch here. And he stops the clock 1:14.93. Nearly a whole second quicker than he clocked in training. That is impressive from Kusch. From Boucher, sorry.
Yeah, Arthur Boucher skiing an amazingly strong set of turns there through the bowl, and that's why he managed to open up such a gap on the lower 20-25 seconds or so of the course, getting the speed through the turns and then carrying that across the flats. Great skiing.
Bib number 13. Alan Lindstrom from Sweden, 21 years of age in his second Paralympic Winter Games. His best result in 2018 was a 7th place finish in the slalom. But already taking a very aggressive line out of the Galleria onto the Silk Road.
Quite a different approach here from the Swedes, punching those gates as he's going through those top turns. It's not as quick as their current leader, Boucher, but it's fast. I can tell you that for sure. He's got a direct line, but now changes the tactics, sets up well for the next pitch. Oh, just loses his left ski a little as the terrain drops away, and that mistake being compounded lower down. Just not on the ideal line, and the pace he was carrying a little bit too much for him to handle there. He's got it back now, getting good kick out of the skis, switching across onto the right foot here, and another very clean turn. This is a good one here to get himself in good pace, good velocity for the flat section.
He loses over a second through the high toe bowl. Can he get any of that back through this canyon section? 1:14.92. That's come, that's gone, and he'll slide into second. 3.29 off the pace. He loses another half a second through the canyon.
Yeah, the line on the lower section through the canyon onto the flats there, he just let it run a bit rounder than he could afford. So as well as not generating speed, he was actually traveling a further distance. Something he possibly should have picked up in course inspection earlier. Somewhere he could have straightened the line out and made some extra time.
Bib 14, Markus Salke of Austria, the downhill and Super G champion from 2014 in Sochi. He is the reigning world champion in downhill and Super G from Lillehammer in January of 2022. The third time he'd done the speed double at the World Championships. And he's trying to chase down our leader, Arthur Boucher. 2061, the first time spin, and he's inside by 11 hundredths of a second. This is a good start from the Austrian.
Yeah, Markus Salke doing a good job on those top turns, and I would say the Austrian ski technicians doing an equally good job on the skis. Those Rossignol boards really seem to be running well for Markus Salke. A little sideways there, though. The pace he was carrying maybe catching him out. Looks to be going faster than he was in training, but cleaning it up here. These are important turns. They're all important, obviously, but these ones in particular. And he doesn't get any favours from the wind. A little bit of extra headwind coming through the bowl. 108
on the speed gun, and struggling on that right-footed turn, but he's still in touch. 0.18 off the pace. 1:14.92, the time of Boucher of France, our current leader. Salke over the final jump. Has he got enough in the tank? 1:14.92. No, he's outside by 0.33.
Very, very close run thing there. Just coming out of the bowl, being pushed a bit too far out, and Boucher knows that's an important scalp for him in the early stages of this competition. Salke there, slow-mo showing us perfectly how hard he's working there to get the aerodynamic advantage, his shoulders as low as he dares.
Bib 15, Mitchell Gourlay of Australia, his fourth Paralympic Winter Games. He was fifth in the Super Combined in 2014 and 2018. The Super Combined World Champion in 2017. And he returned to competition this season after breaking his wrist at the start of the 2019 season. So had some time away from the snow.
As you've said, though, a lot of experience here. The Australian skier hanging up the boots at the end of this season is the plan, but Mitch Gourlay looking to close it off with a strong performance. I wouldn't say downhill is I think it's his preferred discipline, but results-wise, perhaps not as strong. Oh, Mitchell Gourlay loses that left foot or left ski there on that turn. Again, left foot turn letting him down a bit through the bowl. He's going to struggle to hold on to the line here, and will have to work hard here to keep whatever momentum he can, keep himself on the track. But those are very, very costly errors, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, cost him 2 seconds on the clock. And again, you can see 3 or 4 gates further down, even on the flatter section, just running a little late on the line. And 1:14.92 comes and goes. Gourlay 7.29 off the pace, slides into 5th for the time being.
Yeah, I would say a degree of impatience letting Mitch Gourlay down there. The turn he's just gone through, went into it a bit too straight, forcing him very, very straight into these turns. And no way there to generate speed once the line had been lost on that section. Got to string the turns together cleanly from top to bottom, really.
Theo Gamur of Switzerland, the defending downhill Paralympic champion from 2018 and the world champion in downhill in 2019. The 25-year-old from Nendaz, the backside of Verbier in the Swiss Alps. And he's 0.39, the right side of the clock. From his perspective, Boucher, our leader, will be looking up the hill and just wondering whether or not the man who beat him in Pyeongchang might do the same here in Beijing.
Yeah, it's an old story, the competitive rivalry between that pair. And Gamur sees the red light go from green, unfortunately. Didn't have the bullet straight line out of the previous turns.
Oh, there's an error.
Yeah, again, fatigue beginning to set in and damaging Gamur's chances. Takes big risks here on this final turn. He's reeling in the leader, though.
Yeah, he's found 2100s through the high throw ball and gets into that aerodynamic position, trying to find those 3100s. 1:14.92, Boucher's time in the finish area. Here comes Gamur, the defending champion. He's outside it, and he goes third. 1.25 off the pace. The error in the ball costing him on the flats through the canyon. And another big relief for Boucher.
Yeah, sees off another very important rival. Gamur, yeah, he knows where the mistake was made through the bow, and then he was unable to muster the strength to do anything about the damage on the remaining flatter turns at the bottom.
Jordan Poisson of France, the next to go in his second Paralympic Winter Games. He was 14th in the downhill 4 years ago. Injured his back at the end of last year, and he returned to the slopes in November of 21. Now 20.61 his compatriot Boucher, and 0.9 off that time at the first intermediate.
Yeah, it's good skiing from Brozin at the top. Just a note on factors. Joe Brozin, he's an LW4 category skier, indicating that he skis with a prosthetic limb. So you can see quite clearly one turn is stronger than the other. That's him standing on his strong leg on the left side, and this is the trickier turn for him. The prosthetic limb working well for him, and all importantly, Brozin showing a lot of confidence. He's taking chances here through the bottom of the bow. He knows he needs to try like mad to get as much pace under those skis as possible for this flat part.
4.05 off the pace coming out of the high throw ball. And Boucher's time come and gone. 5.26 off the pace.
Brozin, some great clean turns there, but one or two just where he got pushed a little too far off the ideal line, and that ultimately damaging his chances to overtake his younger compatriot.
Canada next in the Star Hut. Alexis Guimont. And Guimont, 22 years of age, second Paralympic Winter Games for him. Fourth in the downhill and Super G in Pyeongchang. He did get a medal in the giant slalom where he placed third.
Good exit from the white-faced pitch. Sees Guimond keep himself in touch with the leader. 1800s to find. Clean turns here as well. Keeps the body low while extending the legs out to pressure the ski and carve around the arc. Very clean turn here. This is good work from the Canadian. Oh, gets dropped a little low here though.
40.63, 1.26 off the pace. He's LW9 class, so he has impairments in both arms and legs.
Guimond working hard through the middle section, through the bowl, but the turns aren't linking up as smoothly as he would like. 1.58 now to find at the final split. He's got good pace under the skis, so let's watch this closely as he comes towards the final drop.
He's been running fourth all down the hill. He was fourth 4 years ago. Can he break that? He needs to be inside 116 to get on the podium. And he's fourth again. 1.85 off the pace.
Yeah, a little shrug of the shoulders in the finish area. Here's a beautiful turn from Guimond, right on the money there, as the coaches would say. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Bib number 19, Nico Pajancic of Austria, 25 years of age, LW6, so has an impairment in one arm, so has to compete with one pole. His father is friends with Walter Lutner, who won gold for Austria back in the 2006 Paralympic Winter Games.
Pajancic going strongly here, only 0.84 off the pace at the top split, and he's not giving this one up without a fight. He's a great Super G skier, so we'll see him in action again tomorrow, and what I would suggest is possibly his preferred discipline. Maybe misreading the line there a little. We saw him getting bounced out wide over the blue line, marking the outer reaches of the course, so maybe that 0.84 will have grown, but these are really, really clean turns from Pajancic.
55.91 out to 2.72 now. Has come a long way back to make that control gate.
Yeah, it's kind of mixture of things, isn't it? Some of the turns are exceptionally clean, and one or two just it's as if he's not really got the line correct in his head. So a strong effort nonetheless, though, from Nico Pajancic.
1:19.21, goes sixth, 4.29 off the pace. A shrug of the shoulders.
Here's one of the clean ones. Or it started off clean, he gets bounced in the air. Not enough movement with the upper body to transmit or throw the weight forward over the skis, and that's the one where he ran outside of the blue line, so a good 2.5 meters off of the ideal at that point on the course.
Bib number 20, Roger Puig-Davy from Andorra, LW9 class, so an athlete with impairment in both arms and legs. 24 years old, second Paralympic Winter Games, carried the flag at the opening ceremony in 2018. He was top 10 in the downhill and the Super G at the World Champs in January.
David safely, cleanly off the white-face pitch. Skis wobbling a bit. Difficult for the skiers with cerebral palsy just to have enough muscular control to keep the skis running on the running straight and safely on the even on the flatter sections. But there's bold skiing going in here, carrying real good pace. But you saw the ski breaking sideways on the entry section to the turn, and again, I would suggest maybe the technician hasn't quite got the tune of the skis right. Looks like they're possibly a little over-tuned for this aggressive snow. Very, very difficult, I must say, to get the skis set up perfectly for these rather unusual conditions. Such dry snowpack, relatively. Oh, yeah, again, the ski seeming to bite. Then he has to let it go because it's biting too much. And, well, you can hear clearly the frustration from the Andorran athlete. That's a shame, you know. That was the last really important turn on the course where he got it wrong there, and right now it's as flat as a pancake up here. So he just has to hold on tight and wait for the line to come to him. Oh, this is a bad finish.
Well, the time will count. He's crossed the line, but frustration all round.
Yeah, the leg's just giving way, and again, you know, some of the skiers with cerebral palsy, the fatigue can just land like an avalanche on them at any point in the course. Difficult to predict how your impairment's going to affect you on the hill.
Manuel Bournex of France, 34 years of age, skiing LW4 class. They have an impairment in one leg only.
He's skiing with prosthetic showing. He hasn't got his suit down over his prostheses. He's above the knee amputee, and doing a real good job up here, I have to say. This is some of the best skiing I've ever seen from him. You know, I've been watching him on the circuit for a number of years now. Oh, line error though. Nothing wrong technically with what he's doing. The skis are running very clean. You could see the pencil marks they're leaving on the snow behind him, but just the line error, travelling a longer distance than really he wanted to, and that's hurt the time on the clock. You could see that clearly.
1:14.92, sixth place, 3.57 off the pace for Bournex of France, who's enjoying himself.
Yeah, you know, he's got a lot to celebrate. That was great skiing.
Christoph Bernhard Schneider of Austria, bib number 22, 29 years of age, an LW6 class, with an impairment in one arm. First Paralympic Winter Games. And he missed 10 months of last season due to a cruciate ligament injury.
CB Schneider, great pace under the skis here. Not that far off in terms of time either. 1.6 there, the deficit at the first split. And I have to say, what he's doing is he's working the terrain really well, more than some of the other athletes. And by that, I mean, you could see there he kept the connection with the snow over the breakaway very well by pushing his upper body forward, transferring the weight towards the front of the skis before the breakaway comes, so the skis stay, relatively speaking, in contact with the snow, allowing him to steer. Unfortunately here, though, the turn's not working out. He's not getting over the outside ski. The forward transfer of pressure good, but lateral movement lacking there a bit from CB Schneider, and that's cost him time-wise. I don't need to see the clock to tell you that.
Schneider over the final jump, and we'll stop the clock at 1:22.73, 7.81 off the pace. Slots into 11th place for the time being.
Yeah, real strong top section. Lower down though, some of the turns not just as he would have hoped.
Santeri Kiveri of Finland, the next to go. Kiveri LW6-8, so another skier who has an impairment in one arm, so has to compete with one pole.
Yeah, and that relatively light impairment reflected in his factoring there in the blue box on the right of your screens. You see 98.34%. So not a lot of advantage in terms of factored time for Santeri Kiveri. Good turns here. He's more of a technical specialist, so slalom and giant slalom more his preferred disciplines, but he's a pretty decent set of downhill turns, and again reflected in the split, only 1.92 off at the final pitch as he comes onto the flat, gets the shoulders down nice and low and keeps the line as straight as he dares through here. So he's going to keep himself in touch with this skiing.
Kiveri 1:18.93, 4 seconds off the pace of Boucher, slides into 7th place. Andrew Hallahay of the United States of America, LW1 class. So this is athletes with impairment that strongly affects both legs.
Yeah, that's why he's allowed to ski with outriggers rather than regular poles. So he gets a little bit extra support from the little skis on the outriggers, as we call them, on the ends of his poles.
He's been considering transferring to sit skiing, which he's going to think about doing after these Paralympic Winter Games, and partly to just help him prevent picking up injuries.
Yeah, and either way, it's a risky business, this sport. So I think he's grown in experience over the last few years, and some of the more confident skiing that I've ever seen from him down here. He's going to struggle a little bit time-wise here, and again, it's a bit of an ask for him to be super clean aerodynamically on the flatter section, so he's maybe going to have a bit of trouble trying to work on that 4.5 seconds or so that he trails the leaders by.
Trying to punch a hole in the air with his outriggers, and he'll stop the clock 1:20.25, 5.33, slides into 11th.
Yeah, a little over 5 off the pace. That's not a bad start to his Paralympic Winter Games at all.
Misawa Hiraku of Japan, 34 years of age, LW2. So he has a significant impairment in one leg. Misawa made his para debut in the Paralympic Winter Games in 2006.
I would say he's one of the strongest athletes, despite only having the one leg. He's one of the strongest guys on the tour, Misawa.
Look at the angle.
Yeah, you can see that strength showing very clearly there. Getting the leg way out to his side, massive edge angle as he comes around that final right foot turn. Well, it's not the final right foot turn, but it's the last really important one. Now he needs to use that leg strength to help him get down low, squat position, and try to punch, as you say, a hole through the air.
1:14.92, 11th place, 5.28 off the pace for Misawa of Japan.
And nods the head. I think he's pleased with that. A very respectable performance for the Japanese team there.
Koiki Gakuta of Japan, LW68 category. An impairment in one arm, 39 years of age. Represents Japan at every Paralympic Winter Games since 2006. He tried to qualify for Tokyo 2020 as a paracyclist, but missed out on a quota spot, so returned to para skiing. And Koike 3.8 off the pace at the time split as he enters the high throw ball.
Good line management through the bowl and gets himself set up well for this important right foot turn. Nice and cleanly out, lets the turn run out, just kisses the blue line on the exit of that turn. Good pace. Aerodynamically looks strong as well. Shoulders nice and low. Letting the air flow smoothly over his shoulders and back. Presses that final jump, the rock jump. Presses that well and over the line.
1:22.46, 14th position for Koike of Japan. Conor Hogan of the United States of America, second Paralympic Winter Games for him. Raced giant slalom and slalom in 2018. And did race speed events at the World Championships, with the best coming in Super G when he was 15th in 2019.
Yeah, Conor Hogan, he certainly likes to take risks. I've seen him take a couple of incredibly spectacular spills. Particularly in my memory at Sellandavia, he had the hugest fall there, but he's a real strong athlete and very strong character as well. He's a cerebral palsy athlete, so you can see on his right side, this side here, it's difficult for him to get the ski set up really cleanly, but as I say, there's no lack of determination in his skiing. Oh, runs super wide, fatigue setting in obviously on these closing turns. He should make it safe from here. That was a close call coming out of the high toy bowl, though, I have to say.
Yeah, LW9 class has impairment in arm and leg. And over the final jump, 1:14.92 is Bochet's time. Hogan is in 16th place, 8.97 off the pace. James Whitley of Great Britain next out of the start hut, 24 years of age, LW5 class, has impairments in both arms. Third Paralympic Winter Games for him, best of 10th in downhill and slalom in 2018. But in between Pyeongchang and Beijing, he's joined the Team Brit motor racing team, which comprises of drivers with impairments, and they're looking to race at the Le Mans 24 Hour in motorsports. So still in the speed section, but a different type of speed.
Great velocity under the skis here from James Whitley. Strong finish. Pushes forward a little wide in the line here.
1:14.92, 8th position, 4.13 off the pace for Whitley. Good skiing from him. Federico Perezzari of Italy, 21 years of age, his first Paralympic Winter Games. Third in the Super Combined at the World Championships in Lillehammer earlier this year, and then fourth in the Giant Slalom. LW 6'8" class, so an impairment in one arm. And 1.22 off the pace at the first split. That's grown to 2.67.
Just about to say he's making some super clean turns. The same story down here, though. Some of them are nice and clean. That's good. Real clean here on the left foot. Right foot turn, letting him down a little. He drifts out. The gap grows to 3.41. But now gets settled down into a good tuck position. Tries to let the skis run as flat as he can while still maintaining these relatively shallow changes of direction. In other words, trying to glide as best he can for the line.
Perezzari nearly 20 metres off that final jump. Goes into 11th, 4.81 off the pace. Oscar Burnham of France, 22 years of age, in his first Paralympic Winter Games. Took up skiing after Pyeongchang. He was inspired by Marie Bochet, the 9-time Paralympic champion from France in the women's alpine skiing. It was after he lost his arm in a climbing accident. So Burnham in the LW 6'8" class. An impairment in one arm.
Super strong turns here from Burnham. He's actually, I would suggest, maybe over skiing the course. He's taking a little bit more direction in some of these turns than he would like. But as we were saying, he's again relatively inexperienced. So in downhill, that experience is all important in being able to judge in the smallest of a fraction of a second just how much risk to take with the line. Burnham making it safe, but keeping himself in contention as well.
Burnham touched the line, 15th place to him, 6.15 off the pace. And his teammate waiting at the bottom to congratulate him. Jeffrey Stoet of the Netherlands next to go, 26 years of age, second Winter Paralympic Games for Stoet, 12th in the Giant Slalom in 2018, his best result at the Paralympic Winter Games. But he was third in the downhill and in the Super G at the World Championships in 2017 on debut there in that competition. Second off the pace at the first split. And Bochet, our current leader, and at the second split, that is now 2.91.
Jeffrey, another skier, Stuttgart, another skier who's suffered a little from injury in the gap between the previous games and now come back strongly, though. Just a little uncertain with some of the direction he's taking in some of these turns here. But all in all, not a bad run so far. Looks a little tired to my eyes on these final turns, the final flat section. Could do with getting his hips down a bit lower to lower the overall body shape, or make the overall body shape as presented to the air a bit smaller, and therefore cut his way through there more quickly. He's pleased with that now.
Well, he's down to the bottom of the downhill in his Paralympic Winter Games second appearance. Arvid Skoglund of Sweden, the next to go, 18 years of age, LW 6'8" class, an impairment in one arm, has to ski with one pole, and he's been racing for about 6 or 7 years now. On debut here at Beijing 2022. 1.81 has grown to 4.02 at the second time split as he enters the high-toe bowl, but good speed at 111 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, some very clean turns here through the bowl. Certainly better than the turns higher up on the course. Sets himself up well, rides it round nice and smoothly, gradual application of the pressure all the way through the long right foot turn, gives him good pace, but again, another skier needs to get a bit lower over the skis, I would suggest, to try to get himself across these flats a little more efficiently.
1:14.90 comes and goes, 8.23 off the pace, 20th position for Skoglund. Bib number 33, Spencer Wood of the United States of America, LW at 9 class. So impairments that affect arms and legs for Spencer Wood. And second Paralympic Winter Games, he raced the tech event, so giant slalom and slalom in 2018.
Certainly no lack of attack here. You can see the body language telling me very clearly this is a skier taking a brave approach to this downhill competition. No mistake, it's really tough out there. The skis rattling around a lot, but
good recovery.
Very close there, yeah, but again, bravery getting him out of that. You could see him trying to spot the exit point. Quick check of where the next control gate was, but trusting that the skis would pick up, not pressing the panic button and getting worse out of shape. So great recovery. It will have hurt the time, no doubt about that, but strong skiing, and as I say, built on bravery and confidence primarily, I would suggest.
Wood off the final jump, and he's going to slide into 15th position, 5.63. Hard in the mouth stuff for Spencer Wood, but he's safely down.
Yeah, and 5.63, considering the scale of the mistake, is not bad at all.
New Zealand in the start hut now with Adam Hall, the 34-year-old, in his 5th Paralympic Winter Games. Picked up gold in the slalom in 2010 and 2018, and a bronze in the super combined in 2018. Also has World Championship medals under his belt, but won the Huang Yondai Award in 2018, given to 2 Paralympians that best embody the spirit of the para movement, and well, getting that Paralympic title back 8 years after his first. Some feat from Adam Hall.
Yeah, you know, he's one of the finest ambassadors this sport could ever have. Adam Hall, he really is an amazing example to the whole of the world. And you know, watch these skills. You know, unfortunately, you won't see him getting down into a super tight tuck. The way his legs work won't allow him to do that. But really, he's a force of nature. The way he rolls those skis from edge to edge, and as we go through the games, watch him bring his A game to the technical events, slalom in particular. This is one of the stronger performances I've seen from him in downhill. So yeah, a great start to the games for Adam Hall of New Zealand.
1:14.92, and a Hall 18th position, 6.26 off the pace. The Anderkress of Germany, bib number 35. He's 21 years of age, LW2 class, and has a significant impairment in one leg. But he is out at the bottom of the high toe bowl.
I think it's actually on Whiteface, just on the opening turns. I think he's. Let's see what's happening. Here's the slow-mo, drops in, but let's the outside ski the ski get just a little bit too far away from the centre of mass, leaning in a bit too far for these bumpy conditions. He might have got away with that. It would have worked out probably quite well if the course had been a little bit smoother, but yeah, you need to make the inclination to put the ski on its angle to make the geometry of the ski bring you around the turn, but you can't afford to go too far towards the inside of the curve. Otherwise, ultimately, the ski loses pressure, straightens out, runs out the curve, and leaves you, like Leander found there, down on your side very rapidly. Looks to be unhurt though. That's the main thing. And so far, hopefully today we've had. There's been a few spills, and I won't make any predictions, but it's an exciting race so far. Everybody bringing their best to this very, very challenging Paralympic alpine hill.
Not a cloud in the sky over the Haitoi mountain as Jesse Keefe of the United States of America prepares to lay down his challenge. The quiet before the storm for Jesse Keefe, the United States of America, 17 years of age. LW4 class, has an impairment in one leg only. And Keefe, first Paralympic Winter Games, racing downhill slalom and giant slalom here.
Looks like the coaches and the techs have got a good technical setup for Keefe. I've not really seen much of this young lad skiing. As you say, he's a relative novice and skiing with a prosthetic limb. The technical setup of the prosthesis and the ski and the connection to the ski, be it a boot or a mechanical joint to replace the ankle, is absolutely crucial. It goes without saying. Obviously, I'm stating the obvious by saying that, but I would say the American technical team have done a good job here in terms of the setup for Keefe, and he's delivering his part of the deal as well. Only just a whisker over 3.5 seconds off, and giving it absolutely everything through the Haitoi bowl, taking risks between those turns there, whipping the skis under his body, rolling them up, and now down into that aerodynamic position as he runs on to the final flats.
4.76 off the pace at the last split for the 17-year-old. And tucks for the line, 1:14.92 has gone, but 21st position for Jesse Keefe of the United States of America. Tyler Carter of the United States of America, bib number 37, 28 years of age, third Paralympic Winter Games for Carter. He carried the flag at the opening ceremony in 2018 and has gone on record saying he's retiring at the end of this season.
Yeah, good start to his competitive week. Oh, gets bounced a little there. That's on his slightly less strong side. Ski coming up underneath the body, compressing the leg more than he was expecting. And again, a similar problem coming into the Haitoi bowl. The ski drifting sideways, and he's not really getting it hooking up cleanly enough on this aggressive snow.
Yeah, LW4 class, so he's impairment in one leg only.
Yeah, Carter down. For the guys with prostheses, it's quite difficult to get the body super low and into a very efficient aerodynamic position, and that's why he's sort of straight legging it across the final flats.
1:14.92, Carter 1:28.79, 13.86 off the pace, goes into 26th position.
He's pleased with that. Great turns at the top, I have to say. A little bit less than ideal on the bottom section, but he's happy nonetheless.
Bib 38, Sun Yan Long of People's Republic of China, 27 years of age, LW 6'8 class. The skis impairment in one arm and 1.93 off the pace at the first split. As he heads towards split 2 at 40.63, that has grown to 4.84.
Good work here through the bowl. Smooth execution. The turns perhaps a little rounder than, say, the stronger skiers. Our leader, Brochet, took some big risks through the high toy bowl, straightened the line out. Sunno gets down nice and low here. Himself slung over the skis, trying to let them run flat, try to get the edges away from the snow and let the plastic surface, the undersurface, the sole of the ski run and glide well towards the finish line.
1:14.92, 23rd position for Sun, 8.2 off the pace.